cruised on MSC Seascape for Mother's Day. And while it was beautiful, it just didn't give what it was supposed to give. From the food to the vibes, honey, I have some things to say. If you're thinking about cruising with MSC, especially Seascape, you're gonna wanna stick around because I'm finna spill all the tea. Hey boo, my name is Kira, and on this side of town, we talk about all things travel, budget traveling to be exact. So if that's something that you may be interested in, why don't you consider subscribing? I promise you gonna get the tea with me. So I decided to take a Mother's Day cruise because why the hell not, honey? I deserve it. On this particular cruise, I sailed to the Bahamas, Nassau to be exact, as well as their private island Ocean Cay, or Cay, tomatoes, which actually had an overnight stay. Yeah, child, I ain't never did nothing like that. I sailed out of the port of Miami, and let's get into the embarkation process. That actually was pretty smooth. Now, granted, I do typically like to select the later check-in time, but when I arrived, there was not a lot of riffraff. Not a lot of traffic, not a lot of lines going on. And if you travel with a passport, honey, you can avoid those lines. For this cruise, you either needed a birth certificate or your passport. You should definitely download the app, and you should do this prior to even sailing. By downloading the app, you're going to go through this whole check-in process, which actually I should start the video with that because that's the first thing you have to do prior to even embarking. You will enter your personal information, including your passport information. If you're going to leave a card on file, it is optional. I learned that. You're going to take a picture. You're going to leave your emergency contact information. If you see an option to sign up for biometric data, or what is it? Something about digital identity for a smooth and fast passage through terminal checkpoints, you're gonna want to sign up for it, honey, because when they say fast, that really accelerated the whole process. I remember receiving an email stating that I needed to print out some documents. I didn't even need that. They didn't ask for any paperwork. The only thing they asked for was to see my passport. They scanned it, and I guess with me entering that in the system, I was able to bypass. And they did face recognition bypass. Now, I will say, when you pull up to the port, you're going to have them port handlers out there. Them people out there is little scammers. Normally, with port handlers, you give them what type of tip you want to get them, right? At least that's what it was with experience in the past for me. Well, these port handlers is letting you know what they are expecting. I remember they meant somebody was asking about taking their luggage, and they said $20 a bag. If you fine with tipping that, that's fine. But for me, it's just like, wait a minute, sir. Wait a minute. I'm saying all that to say, you can print out those luggage tags, which is also sent in the email when your cruise is approaching. You can print it out, put it on your bags. I mean, it's always great to have that, but I actually took my luggage up. And with this whole biometric data face recognition process, I was able to breeze on by, which helped a lot because I was carrying my luggage up, child. Now, the energy coming onto the ship was excellent. Everybody was cheering. They was complimenting. They was really giving the vibes and setting the tone for a great vacation. Immediately getting on the ship, I was ready to get to the room. Again, I had already arrived 3:30, close to 4 o'clock, so the room should be ready at this time, right? I will say this. I traveled with someone who came earlier in the day. Her flight was extremely early, and she went ahead and took a chance on life and went over to the port, and they went ahead and allowed her to go up. Now, the thing with that is that she was able to go ahead and gain access to the room, but the room was not quite clean and ready to go in. Now, leaving out of the room on the final day, I noticed by the door they had a sign that said, and I didn't even get the footage of it. It pretty much broke it down and said, hey, this room is not clean yet. Okay. So I believe that's what happened with her, especially because she got access to the room earlier, but she did not like the condition of the room. By the time I got there, I didn't see any of that. I do remember her speaking to one of the room attendants, and they said, oh, you know, we're not finished cleaning the room as of yet, but we allow you to gain access so that you can put your luggage down. Now, that is a pro to that, right? Because a lot of the times if you're coming up, then you have to go all around town with your luggage. But they do allow you to gain access so that you can be able to put your bags and belongings in there and don't have to tote them around if you decide not to drop off your bag for $20. However, I can see how that will be kind of unsettling when you walk in and there's trash on the floor, the mirrors ain't been cleaned, the bed need to be, you know what I'm saying? That's a little much. I think I personally prefer where they tell you, hey, you can't come up to after 1, can't come up to after 2. Go have a drink on the Lido deck. You know what I'm saying? But to each their own. I just want to let you know that this particular ship I was really surprised on allowed you to go up sooner than later. Speaking of going up, let's back it up a bit. Girl, the elevators. The elevators, honey. The elevators. Now, I would love somebody from the MSC Seaside creation or Seascape. I don't know why I keep saying Seaside. Seascape. Did I take the Seascape? Seascape. To report to the front. Please report to the front. I would love for them to sit down and tell me what was the thought process of those elevators. Now, I came up with my own conclusion, and y'all tell me if you think the same thing I think. Let me first explain. And I think I have a video because if you're a visual learner, you're going to want to see what the hell I'm talking about because it's a lot of confusion, honey. It's a lot of confusion. So imagine standing out waiting on an elevator. Instead of a little button that they have a computer stand, almost like a little iPad, mini iPad. And on that screen, it shows all the deck numbers. And you will press what deck you would like to go to. Once you press that deck, it will light up or show on the screen what elevator you should take to get to that deck. So there's about 4 elevators. So let's just say A, B, C, and D. I was deck 10. So imagine it came up elevator D, right? It also told you the arrival time, the expected arrival time for the elevator to come. Of course, when everybody is coming on all together, the times will be long. So prepare for the wait. I gave that grace because I understand. That's the same thing as when you're coming from ports and so forth, or you're going down or coming off, expect the wait. The thing is, when you get on the elevator, there are no buttons. Typically on the elevator, you can press 1 through whatever to be able to get to where you need to go. But that's not the case. So if you step on the elevator and it's not your number indicated on this little screen they have on the side, inside of the elevator, then you're going to have to get your ass off the elevator and back into the hallway and start that process all over again. This is not one of those where you're waiting for the elevator. Whoever's first come, first serve, you get on and you press the number and then you go to where you're going. That's not how it works here. Okay. I personally feel like the purpose of that is to keep the capacity leveled low. It's something about etiquette in them cruise streets. Elevator etiquette, might I add, in them cruise streets that people just lack. Okay. And even with this experience, with this particular way of an elevator setup or style, people were still bum rushing in. Can you make some room for me and just come on in? We was packed like sardines at one point. I have a little clip of that, as a matter of fact. And it was just like, wow. And get this. I really liked, though, that at one point, as they kept coming in like roaches, the elevator literally said that the wait is over capacity. Somebody's going to have to get off. And they're not closing the elevator. They would not. And I didn't get that clip, unfortunately. But they did not close that elevator until those last 4 people who tried to squeeze their way on up on the elevator got off. So I understand slightly the concept, but I don't know if it's really working out. From that point, though, I got to the room. I'll put my room number on the screen because I can't never remember, child. I don't know why I can't ever remember the number. It was a balcony room. The room was pretty nice size. I will say, because it has this pull-out couch in the middle, it kind of take away from some of the space. When you walk in, normally they have them together. You have to request for the beds to be separated. But then now y'all stuck in a little corner together with a little space in the middle. It would be nice if they move that couch on out of the way. Because anyway, who the hell, we don't know what's on that couch. I'm just not big on couches, especially the type of materials they use, like what could be on them, the germs and the debris. Ooh, child. So they can just go ahead and move that on out the way and maybe have like a little table there instead of having a little couch. And then it'll make more room in there, especially if you're rooming with someone. I will say that if you're rooming with someone, you're probably going to want to pack you a portable charger or a few of them. There's only 2 charger ports that I found. You correct me if I'm wrong, that I found. So if you have multiple devices that you're going to have to literally be changing them out. And then you got to, be nice and share one of the ports. So it's very minimal when it came to that, and I didn't like it. That bath water is hot, honey. Okay, there's a sign on there that's literally saying "warning, hot water." They ain't never lied. Ooh, that water hot. Now I love a hot shower, but baby, that water is hot there. I think that's what they be talking about when they be talking about hell. There was a tub, which I was kind of shocked to see a tub. Right now, tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why. Did they not have a sliding door so that the water ain't getting all over the toilet seat, the floor, the sink, the mirror? I'm splashing suds all over it because you can't even close the shower. That's a little weird setup. I'm glad they ain't had that little shower curtain though, because I hate when that shower curtain touch me like, ooh, don't touch me. Aside from that, I'm literally trying to remember everything in the room. Everything was pretty much good. The balcony was a decent size, the typical 2 chairs and a table. The TV, I believe they had HGTV, they had TLC at one point. I remember seeing Food Network at one point. A lot of sports channels. Cartoon Network for the kids, because yes, children are allowed on this cruise ship. Which I might add, there was not a lot. No, I'm lying. I just lied. There were a lot. It wasn't a lot of teenagers per se. At least that's what I saw. But a lot of them little ones, woo. I was like, well, damn, I know people got to take vacation, but it almost don't feel like a vacation when you're bringing a children along with. But that's just my opinion, especially when they that little. Teach their own. They had the videos on demand. I think it was like $10. Some of the movies was older than me and you put together. I wouldn't spend $10 on them. But you do have your options. I'll say all that. This actually was more channels than I remember on Celebrity ship. Because Celebrity had the black and white and about 3 stations. So this was a step up. Virgin has the most channels cruise that I've ever been on thus far. Now let's go ahead and talk about the muster drill. Immediately getting on that ship, especially if you're a first-time cruiser, report to your muster station. They will get on the intercom now and blast you. They'll start calling you out, telling you who ain't go yet and what. And they not leaving the port until you do so. So you might as well get it done. That's exactly what we did after we checked out the room. I ain't gonna lie, planning on going to get something to eat. And I said, girl, let's go to the muster station. I do love that this was so easy peasy. I believe on your cruise card, if I'm not mistaken, which is the card that you're gonna use, is like your bank card that you use at home. That's what you use where your onboard credit is attached, your credit card is attached, what have you. But it had on there your room number, your name, your muster station drill, what restaurant was like your main restaurant, the time, and all of that. Child, I got all the tea on that little card. I can't remember at the moment what was my muster station number, but we just went on down, went there, pulled the cards out. The gentleman scanned them, and he said you was done. That was the easiest muster station drill, and it was not so hectic and confusing. Now, I will say that there's going to be a video on the app that they want you to watch. And they're going to keep on keeping on. Hey, 'cause you came and you changed my world. Your love so brand new. They will keep on, keeping on, reminding you to watch that video. I remember one time they said that if you don't do it, something, child, they threaten you somehow. I can't remember. I told my homegirl, I said, look, we better go ahead and watch it. Now, if one watches it, it's okay for both of the rooms. It's not like, even though the accounts were separate, It's not, I didn't have to watch it and she had to watch it. If somebody, we just let that thing play while we was getting ready, basically. And it just kind of went over what to do in case of emergency, blase, blase. I guess what they typically will tell you and show you when you go to the muster drill, they decided you grown, you can handle it on your own. From that point, we went to the food. So we're going to start talking about food here. Overall, my experience with food this time around was just not the best. Honey. It kept being misses. The only time we had a big hit was Caribbean night, and we ate in the Skyline, and it was really good. When it came to the green light, honey, that's what we was assigned to at first, and we was assigned to like an earlier eating time. I think 7. We don't eat that early. We eat 9. Okay, food was just not the best in there, or at least that night. It just wasn't the best, child. They played around. The salad was dry. Now, that onion soup that first night was hitting. The second time I got it around, honey, you could tell it was getting old. They just gave the little scraps. Honey. Whatever was left, they just gave it to him. Him, take that, him. The Caribbean night food didn't look the best, but it was actually decent. The shrimp. I remember I had rice and beans and something. The cheesecake did not miss. Everywhere I went and ordered that cheesecake, all of them tasted yummy. Scrumdiddlyumptious. I still think about the cheesecake. We did eat brunch at one point. Brunch was brunching. It was some type of Japanese bowl. It almost, not ramen, but it was with rice, fried chicken, but Japanese flavor on it. The fruit was good. The buffet was pretty decent. That first day, they had that good old cabbage. The second day, they had some really great salmon, some type of rice, like an Indian dish. Woo! Girl, y'all know I love me some Indian food. At night, I did like for late night if you get hungry or if you go to the club or whatever you got going on. You're doing a lot of drinking. If you need to sober up, you can go down and get you some pizza. That's what they had. Pizza, honey. Pizza. They had some treats and stuff too just for the kids, so they say, but honey, who? I'm a big kid now. That's what I gave. And I went right on over there and got me some of that little snacks that them kids had. That brownie that first day was hit. Everything was so fresh, seemed like the first day. And in the cafeteria, as I like to call it, but the buffet. And then as the days went on, the girl just dwindled. When we went down, though, getting on the ship, a lot of them was closed. Shout out to that lady. I wish I would have got her name. We explained to her, that we just got on the ship. We're hungry. We haven't eaten anything. And she just snuck us some food. Fries, pork chops. She just snuck us some food. I guess she didn't realize that on the other side, it was open. I don't know what that was about. She could have just said, y'all going over to the other side. We over there peeking through the blinds, talking to her. And she could have just said, going over there is some food. But no, I guess she wanted to do a good deed, honey. And she did. Because we had no idea. We thought we was going to be hungry till later on that night. Thank God for her. We didn't do any specialty restaurants this particular time. Of course, that costs money, but I did see that they had the hibachi station. They had a taco place. They had Japanese. They had options. We just didn't do it this time around. Since we talking about staff and service, or, I talked about her, let me just go ahead and get that out of the way. Unfortunately, we did not experience a lot of warmth and welcoming from the staff. It just gave that everybody was either close to their contract ending and just wanted to get through and get the hell home, or just was there to do their damn job and nothing more. There was a handful of people, and I'm talking about in one hand, this one here, this hand right here, 5 fingers, so that's probably about 5 people, if even, that I can really remember that maintained a positive attitude throughout the entire trip. Like when you saw them, they always spoke, they always talked, they didn't switch up. That was very welcoming and with a smile and just seemed pleasant. I understand these people are away from their families for months and months at a time. Like some of these people we spoke to, contracts 9 months. That's a very long time to be away from your wife, your husband, your kids, and so forth. But we didn't select that job for you. Aside from the ship, the staff is it's the first impression, right? Am I right or wrong? I feel like when you walk on the ship, of course, what you see, it's like, ooh, but the staff is what's going to help with that. And man, it just gave, I don't know. Like one experience we had at a bar, And we spoke with the gentleman, and we ended up, trying to come to because this was our favorite bar. This was the only bar that had the tequila we was looking for. Yeah, child. We kind of talked to him and said, you okay? Let's check in. Mental health. Okay. Because some people might be really going through some things on that ship. So we was trying to, but the first day he was so nice and then the second day he came with a little, and we was just like, well, what happened? What did we do? We didn't do nothing but be black and come to the bar and ask for a drink. We weren't mean. We weren't rude. We know how to handle our liquor. It was just for whatever reason it shifted. People were coming up, and when we walked up, he didn't recognize us. Like, he didn't say, hello, I'll be with you in a second. None of that. We saw other people coming from the other end, and he was like servicing them. And we're like, well, wait a minute. We've been here. There was other people sitting there also saying, yeah, you guys were here before those. And he kind of gave an excuse like, oh, they've been here. When we all saw. But we're not going to argue, sir. But it's just, what is that about and why? And then we kind of talked to him later and just wanted to check in and was like, but he wasn't the only one. And then another thing with that, they only have one person at a bar. I really hope that they put more people at a bar, especially going into the summer season, because that's not going to go well. There was a black lady, I think her name was Barbara. Shout out to her at the taco joint. She was very, very nice. She kept the same energy and attitude every time we saw her. The people at the front, when you first walk in, they did some cheering. Those people were nice. Listen, there was a guy in the skyline. I didn't get his name, but he was very, very sweet. And he saw us again. And he was like, hey, like he remembered us. I feel like 5 days is long enough for people to remember you, right? Like nobody really... There are certain people like the curly haired woman, like some of them I didn't get their names and I only saw them maybe once or twice, but there were not a lot of, we had more negative encounters with staff and just not rude or just unpleasant or just wasn't smiling or just wasn't welcoming or just, one of them were in the what is it? The spa. We walked up and we were interested in going to the thermal spa or this regular spa. I wasn't sure. I wanted to find out what was the difference. I literally asked, well, what is the difference between the spa and the thermal spa? She was like, this is the spa. This is the spa. And we were just like, me and my friend looked at each other. We were just like, well, wait a minute. And I was recording at the time. And in the footage, you can hear me say, okay, relax. What's the difference between the spa and the thermal?
The spa and the thermal. What do you mean spa? The thermal area is actually with sauna, steamer, and jacuzzi, hydro pool, snow room. So that is the thermal area. The spa is like the massages. This is the whole spa.
Okay,
yeah,
relax.
No, it's okay.
Right, well, coming off a little. I was just so taken aback because why? And we spoke to her supervisor at the spa in regards to the whole situation. And then we came across another lady in the spa. What was her name? If some people you just do not forget when they give you that great customer service. And when you don't get it, hell, you don't forget that either. I just went on a whole rant, probably a few minutes about the customer service. But that just shows you like how affected we were. Like, I don't think people will understand. And even there were some assholes on the ship. A lot of people were looking, watching. It just gave people wanted to mind the business of the black girls. Why? I don't know. I don't know. You came across some that are looking, they'll say, oh, you guys look so great. And maybe that's why they looking. But then you get the ones that are stare. They won't say anything. They're I don't know. It's just that happens though when you're traveling with these different people from different cultures and walks of life. It happens. As being a woman, it's gonna happen. Let's talk about music, the vibes, entertainment. This makes up a big portion of the cruise, does it not? When it came to the music, honey, I know my name's Shakira, but I can only tolerate the Espanol for so long, for only so long. You know, there was not a lot of mixing of the music. You know, here and there you hear a little despacito. I guess that's how they mix it with the Spanish with the English. Because they had the English-Spanish version. And then they played Selena, because who don't love a good bitty bitty bum ba, bitty 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 bum, bitty 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 bum, bantares al amor. Yeah, they played that. The blackest music I heard was when, come on, Kira, remember. See, I gotta go deep, deep, deep in my recollection to even try to remember when. The steel pan band man. Is the steel drum man? Girl, he was jamming. He played, can we talk for a minute? Hey, but it was just the instrumental. But you can make out the music because he had the music playing with doing the little ding ding ring a ding 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 ding. He did a Boyz II Men song. He did a lot of black music. He was black. He did a lot of black music, but it's goddamn instrumental. I gotta sing along like this karaoke. Now I ain't against karaoke, but I'm just singing. Where's the lyrics? The next time we heard black music was when they had like this little sailor party. I guess for all the sailors. What do you call them? The ship people. I'm calling them sailor shot. I don't know if that's the name. I can't even think of the actual terminology for them. They all came out and they did their little dance to YMCA. They did the cha-cha slide and the Cupid shuffle. Where was boots on the ground? I had been practicing and practicing. Now, mind you, I didn't get it down pat, but I had been practicing. I had my fan on deck. Where was boots on the ground? They did a little Macarena. Yeah. Oh, Lola, pula, mia Macarena. Palmana, Ilko Sabrina. Lola, pula, mia Macarena. Yeah, Macarena. All right. So don't go on this ship expecting. Now, we did miss the sail away party, but when we made it up, it was still going on. All we heard was the that's all we heard. We did go to a party when they had a tropical night. Of course, the music, you got to follow the entertainment staff. They teaching you a little dance, but the music that we're dancing to, of course, is, you guessed right, Spanish, honey. But after that, like once it ended, he played a little Beyonce. He played a little 50 Cent. He played a little, when people sleep. Because that had to be about 11:30, almost 12. You mean to tell me we got to wait to midnight to get some black music on board? I didn't like that. Another thing I didn't like, and I hope it's not coming off as a negative video, but I can't help my experience, honey. It is what it is. Another thing I didn't like, a lot of the events that they had planned, so they had, like, for instance, karaoke, a comedy show. They had the tropical night. They had, you know, all of these different things, and they will have it all at the same damn time. And I can't be at 3 places at one time. If you think you're lonely now, oh yeah, wait until tonight. Yeah. I can't be at 3 places at once, y'all. We had to try to figure out how the hell we gonna go to this and go to this. Or maybe we can do this and then we can be there for like 10 minutes. Then we can go here and then we can go. And I feel like, hold on, let's give them grace. They do this so that it won't be so packed and everybody's at one thing. Because there's a lot of people on board. But give us time. Or at least let it be longer. Like some of that stuff ended in like 30 minutes. How in the hell? They did have theme nights. So make sure you bring your all white. They had tropical night. They had neon night. They had, I seen some people dressed up. But I didn't see that on the list. So I don't know if people got together and say, hey, let's bring our Sunday's best and put it on. But they did. Some people had that on. What other theme night they had? I think that was all the themes they had on that particular ship. I don't know about you, but I love me a good theme night, but they gotta do better with the DJing because the DJing was not DJing, honey. Ooh, child. And I remember this lady went up to him and asked him to like request a song. He was like, but I can say though, she should have known better not to go up in the middle of a set. Like, ma'am, people. I told you about them people in that etiquette on that ship, child. They don't really come with their manners. They just leave it wherever they come from, child. That's what it's the app. I mean, at this point, you're going to have the app on your phone. That's where you need to look for all your daily activities. They had a lot of stuff going on throughout the day. We didn't do a whole lot throughout the day, though, to be honest with you. This was a very relaxed and chill vacation, but there was a lot of things to do if you wanted to. You could stay as busy as you like and not. There was actually a black comedian, and he was funny. He had more than one show. I loved how they did the one show for anybody to come, and then they had another show on another night was just 21 and older. And he got very raunchy, honey. But we grown here. I just feel like the music tie into the vibe. You can't really vibe right if you're not really listening to the music you want to listen to. So bring you a speaker. That's what we always forget. I always forget myself to carry a speaker. My phone don't get loud enough, honey. I need my music as loud as they damn music be. They had silent disco. They had a lot of stuff in the atrium. Is that what that's called? Like the big part of the ship where you see like the main ship. They had a lot of stuff in there. Kind of like open with more space and everybody coming together on different levels. I like that idea so they won't be so jumbled and crumbled in one room and hot. The only thing about the silent disco, you had to be in line for the earphones and then you had to be in another line and drop them back off, and it was $50 per headphone if you do not return. So yeah, like what? They got to come up with a better concept, because who want to spend their vacation in a line? Not I, except the cat. And I remember on Celebrity when I went to the silent disco, they just had a guy at the front. He was handing out the earphones. They was cleaning them off. It was just a flow, even flow. You come back, he wipe them off. You give and take. It was none of that. I just didn't want to be like on a strict schedule, and I felt like in order for me to attend those activities, I had to schedule it out. I don't even recall seeing the entertainment team, like meeting them, interacting with them. No, I'm lying. We did see them at the Cellaway, because I remember one coming up to us, talking to us briefly, but I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Ship layout. I think the ship was gorgeous. I really love the floors where it's like this glassy. I don't even know why I didn't take a picture on it this time around, but I do got footage walking on them. But it's really aesthetically pleasing. I feel like that's a really cute place to take pictures. I remember them having like a little section for like the New York, Times Square. I thought that was really cute. They had a barbershop, a spa. We did go and take advantage of the thermal spa, y'all. That thermal spa was thermal spa, honey. I'm one of those ones that just love the saunas. They had the saunas. They had the hot saunas, the cool this, and the salt rooms, and the hot tubs, and the girl, you name it, that thermal spa had it. We almost didn't make it with the attitude of that lady. Okay, but we didn't let her get in the way of our relaxation. The thermal spa was worth it, and because it was in port, it was $89, and they did a buy one get one free, and we had a $50 onboard credit from my cruise agent. Which, if you're looking to book a cruise and you don't want to do all of the drama on your own, I'll be sure to link her information down below. She's wonderful. When you do the math, we ain't pay that much for the thermal experience. They did have a game room. They even had a teen area, which again, there was not a lot of teens on board, but when they did come together, it was a few of them, and they seemed pretty cool. I seen it was like a group of 5 maybe, and they was meet up and things like that, but it was a very small room, and they had little stuff in there for them to get into. I love that. They had the game room. Of course, the game room was separately. So if you're coming with the children, it's not included. You're going to have to do the fun pack or whatever the lady was telling us. At the day of the port, they had it $9 per ride. They have like these little simulator rides. Like they had that robo ride. I don't even think it was open. I never saw anybody get on it. But they had this ride that we tried, which is like the simulator. Is it called simulator? I don't know, y'all. It's like the when you're in an IMAX movie type thingy and you're shooting 3D, 4D, that type of thing. $9 we paid to go in there. It was okay. It was okay. Low key, I wanted my $9 back after the ride was over. But it's something to do for the children. Speaking of children, they had a whole area for a water park. They had a slide. And they had literally like this water park set up aside from the pool area. I like that, so that all them children is not packed and cramped at the pool. Keep the pool for the adults. They didn't say that, but it would be nice. And let the children go to the little areas for the kids. Really, really nice up that way. Also, they had different areas for you to lounge around and sit at. They even had like a sports bar area where it was set up where you had your own private TV. You can order food. That food was not included though in the sports bar area if you didn't have the certain package or whatever. And you was in this own little cubicle style thingy. Girl, it was so nice. I like that. It was very nice. I like the whole setup and concept of the ship. I have never been on a ship where I felt like, ew, what is this? As far as the look of the ship. You can tell they put some energy and emphasis onto the ship, and I like that. Lots of nooks and crannies and places. Like we went from the top floor all the way to the bottom just to see what was what. We stayed on, I feel like floor 8 though. I remember seeing a gym on this back there with the spa, but I don't remember seeing like a library. There was a lot of little quiet places anyway though, so you didn't really need a library, but I didn't see one in case you're one of those people. I feel like they even had an area where you can go and kind of use the internet, but we're gonna breeze on to the internet. As a matter of fact, I did get the internet package. I did. Honestly, the internet was interneting. I didn't have any huge issues with my internet. You just go on and you go to your settings and then you go to the Wi-Fi and then you press the MSC Seascape. You'll see it. And then they'll kind of walk you through how to set up your internet. And then from that point on, you had it. Now, the only thing is we did not get the browsing feature. There's like 2 internet packages. They had like the basic, then they had one above that one. And that would include like if you want to go on YouTube, if you want to play music, but you can download your music and still be able to play it without having to stream. But if you want to do anything with streaming, you will need that package. You'll need that higher package. Now, I do a lot of video calling, FaceTime calling, Wi-Fi, you know, that type of thing. And I was able to do it without the streaming package, which I was kind of shocked because normally they consider FaceTiming as streaming, but maybe I could be wrong. I will say with the lower internet package, I was able to still call home and FaceTime if that matters to you. I was able to browse the internet. I was able to do anything you can do. I can do better. I can do anything better than you. But anything typically that you can do at home, aside from streaming, you were able to do with that internet. And it wasn't really laggy or slow. At least I don't remember those experiences. And I feel like I would have. So let's give it up for MSC and the internet. Of that. Another thing I paid for was drink package. Now they now have it, which they didn't have before, where 15 drinks is the maximum for the package per day. Per day. Don't be scared. I know. You can breathe now. Because I remember when I first heard it, I remember when the agent told me this. But I don't think I remembered until I got on the ship that was the case. But when she told me, I was like, oh, that's fine. I'm not going to use 15. But then when I heard it on the ship, the way the man talked about it, it gave 15 for the whole trip. And I don't know about you. I feel like for 5 days, I can put the 15 to use. Okay. I don't want to be limited is what I'm trying to say. And he made us understand that, no, it's a day. And it starts over. When it comes to juices, sodas, waters, all that, that's unlimited. When it comes to alcohol, 15 drinks a day. Hear me now. I think they did that to cut back the shenanigans that be going on, the negative shenanigans that can go on when people don't know how to handle they got liquor. You know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it be you. Hell. I guess they say, you know what? To cut down confusion, to cut down any of that type of mess happening, we gonna limit this. I didn't see anybody bring anything on board as far as, because you know how sometimes people sneak alcohol on board. Waters, things like that, sodas. I didn't see any of that. And I feel like at this point, soon it's going to get to a point where cruise ships are not going to allow you to do any of that. With people telling their secrets, making videos. The most recent I seen was the girl was pretending to be pregnant. And the whole time the stomach was all of the alcohol she snuck in. Like, But one thing about us, we gonna come up with some. The thing is, we don't know how to keep our mouth shut. Now, with that package, though, keep in mind that you can only go up to, I think, $13 or $15 or something like that when it comes to the drinks. And I do like that a lot of the good alcohol was covered and I didn't have to pay extra. From what I remember on the Divina, if you wanted a drink that was more than what your package covered, you would pay the difference. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's how it was 2 years ago. But most of the alcohol, especially the good quality, like Reposado, tequila, the good brands, they were on this regular package. They were included, which was really, 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 really good. I didn't like, though, that there was only certain bars had certain liquors. A lot of the bars had the cheap stuff, y'all. You stay away from the pool bar. Even going down when you get off the ship and going on the island, private island, stay away from that pool, that bar that they have out there. They're taking all of the Jose Cuervos, honey, the devil, honey. They taking all that stuff out there and giving it to y'all and making y'all be limited to what. What you do is take your butt inside, find you a little nice little bar inside, and look at the options and see how much of a difference it is. Also, if you really feel like you're going to do more drinking than that, because, you know, maybe some of y'all are getting drinks for friends or for family members who didn't get the drink package, you can always tip a, slide somebody a little, and I'm pretty sure some of them would just not even swipe your card. I remember the last day, the one guy, he was like, oh, don't worry about it, it's the last day. So you just never know, you just never know, but that's the way. I guess now I'm talking too much, like the other people be giving their little techniques away. Now I'm doing it. Nassau Port. Now, to get off the ship, the only thing you really needed was your card. That's it. And then your belongings, whatever you was taking. We went off on Nassau, but we went off very late, like towards the end. I think we went off at like 4. We had to be back at 5:30. We had already been here on the prior cruise. I've been there to the Bahamas a few times at this point, y'all. But it's a quick getaway, right? I'm not gonna complain. We didn't really do much. We walked the port. We ended up running into a guy. I can't remember his name. But he gave out free drinks and he was a vibe. I feel like if we would have went early, we would have had a really great time with him. He was like a setup at a bar. If I remember, I'm definitely gonna put the footage here so you can, see him. But he gave good time vibes. He was playing the music. We ran into some people who were on the ship, from the ship, some who were staying over on the island, and all of this stuff. Good times out there, good vibes. And it was just a breath of fresh air to get off the ship. You know what I'm saying? But there's tons of things to do. You can go to the Atlantis. I've done the Atlantis. I've done the island tour. I've went and got conch. They have the Margaritaville. They have all different type of things that you can get into. You can go on Viator. You can go through the ship and book you an excursion if you like. We contemplated doing parasailing, jet ski, and all that, but she kept talking about she wanted to do what it's called. You know what I'm talking about? When you go out there in the ocean and you're out there swimming around and looking up under the water at the fish and the corals and all this. Girl, please. I said, girl, what? I'm okay with being adventurous, but baby, when it becomes to being in the water, knee deep down in the water, child, you could count me out. I ain't with that. Now, the only time I may is swimming with dolphins. That's something I really been wanting to do. I don't even know how I'm gonna do that, because how I'm swimming, don't even know how to swim. How I'm gonna be swimming with the dolphins? I mean, stand up with the dolphins. We made it back in time. Not a long process to get back on. Those elevators, though, do be on. The elevators be elevating again because everybody coming back on at the same time. We did stay over Ocean Cay, as I said earlier, Key, overnight. So we didn't get off the first day. And the thing about this cruise was that there was no sea day. I was so surprised. Like, what? How you cruising and don't have a sea day? Well, I guess we did. Yeah, the sea day would be considered the day when we boarded the ship, because we was on sea all that day. But I mean, like, you have one full day when you're just out there in the middle of nowhere cruising. Cruise, we're gonna fly away, you're going my way. I love it when we're cruising together. So what happened was, the second day they cruised and then we arrived at Ocean Cay afternoon, if that makes sense. So it kind of gave like a C day, if that makes any sense. Speaking of that, I want to throw in right quick because my memory just memoried. We were invited to a special event. They gave out all the little expensive and tasty champagne. Honey, we made little mimosas and things like that. And why we were invited was because we sailed with MSC before. Make sure you sign up for those like voyage, what is called? Voyage something, where you get points for selling with them, because then you start ranking and then you start getting extra perks and then you get discounts and so forth. We didn't get off the first day. We took time in the spa. We kind of stayed around on the ship. A lot of people got off, so this was our opportunity to walk around and not feel so bombarded and crowded. Like, second day we got off later because we went back to the spa again, and that's what the lady did. She gave us a buy one get one, and she allowed us access 2 days instead of just one. She was really pleasant. We got off and then we went out, and we didn't really go to the beach, but we rode by. So we got on this little train or the tram or the little cart, the go-kart, and we had somebody to just ride us around. And we just look again, we have already been here, been there, done that. They did have music out there where someone was singing. They were singing some really good songs. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. She did Adele. She was really singing. Hell, that was the closest songs that I would rather hear. I'd rather heard them songs that she was singing than hearing them songs that I heard on the ship. But they had a lighthouse show. We missed it again. Now, that's the thing. We keep sailing with them and we keep missing the lighthouse show. I don't know where we be at when the lighthouse be going on. I haven't seen the show yet. I've seen the lighthouse, haven't seen the show. But yeah, they have the music, the bars out there, the food, and you kind of just hang out. The water is beautiful. I'll say that. The water, Bahamas, something about Bahamas water, really, really beautiful. But we didn't do much there either. We didn't even stay out there long. It was so hot. We literally just want to relax, y'all. When we said we just wanted to relax and just enjoy and not be on nobody else's time and feeling like we had to do and be obligated to everything and do everything and see everything, we really was, said what we meant and meant what we said. And on the second day, you had to come back on the ship, I think at 5:30. And y'all, hurry y'all ass up and get back on them ship. Every time they said that a certain time that you were required to be back on the ship, when I would watch my clock to see when I felt like when the ship took off, they literally was leaving like 5 minutes, 10 minutes after the time. Like, I don't know if that meant everybody was there and they was locked and loaded and ready to go, or they were just leaving people. I'm not really sure, but whatever it is, girl, don't mess around with the mess around. Just get your back. Get on back on the ship, child. I don't want you to be one of them pure runners. I remember asking some of the people that was out on the port at Ocean Cay, like, what is there to do? And they were like, oh, it's a lot of water sports activities and things like that. I'm pretty sure it's stuff to get into. You can rent cabanas and all that. I'm not renting them. You can't. Girl, them cabanas be so high. Child, I'll just go back on the ship and sit down. I'm in the shade, child. Definitely don't expect a party vibe when you get off on Ocean Cay. It's nothing like that. It's not a turn up. It's calm, relaxing, just what we were looking for. Disembarkation, that went quick. Now, the night before, you're going to receive luggage tags. You're going to receive a paper that tells you the order in which you are supposed to get off based on your deck, or based on, I think it's based on deck, but like, for instance, if you're doing like a walk down, when you're walking your belongings down yourself, which I did, I think it was from 7 to 8:30 to get off. And then they would call based on like if you were getting airport transfers to Miami Airport, Fort Lauderdale Airport. The later people who had later flights will get off later. The people who had earlier flights, they would get off earlier. Again, they had a line if you travel with your passports, and they had a line if you travel with your birth certificate. Now, don't fret. That line for the passports was lining, but that thing was moving. And I kept hearing the lady say, you don't need to show your passport. You don't need to take it out. Keep it in your, you don't need it. And she right. She didn't need it. To get off the ship, they did the face recognition thing again. That's all they did, honey. The line was long, but the process was processing. They had that thing set up and scheduled. You'll come out and you'll see all them people. You're like, oh, Lord, I'm going to be here all day. But no, they really did well with getting people off the boat. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell on off the ship. if it was a person or people, it would definitely be them people there at that port. Because, honey, they was getting us off that boat. You understand? So overall, I know the final question is, would you ever sail with MSC again? And I definitely would. Yes, I would. Will I sail on Seaside or is this Seascape? Why do I keep saying, girl, I must need to sail the Seaside. I probably won't sail Divina again. I probably won't sail Seascape again. I will probably go to Seaside, or the newest ship is like the American or something like that. I would definitely though continue to sail with MSC. If you're black, I feel like as far as the crowd goes, I can end it on that note. It's a little here and there. Like, it's more than what I seen on Divina, because I feel like people was not really dealing with MSC, and it was a little iffy. They weren't sure. Now that they kind of getting their name out there as an American cruise line, or trying to transition and become for the American travelers, I feel like more people are giving them the opportunity. So you're going to see a little bit more of us on there, chocolate folk, but it's not a whole lot. The vast majority is the Spanish folks for sure, from all walks of life, but white and Hispanics. If you're thinking about booking MSC Seascape, now you know exactly what to expect, or maybe not. Your experience may be a little different. Come down in the comment section if you've had a different experience or any type of experience with MSC cruises, and let me know. Talk to me, I'll talk back. You know, people be tripping and running and falling. Running to them comment sections to see what everybody got to say. I really hope that this video helped. I hope it didn't steer you from booking the trip, but instead informed you so that you can kind of know what to expect walking in, and not blindly, if that made any sense. Because I always tell people when they ask me about things that I've done, that's my experience. But you have your own experience. Book it so that you have your own experience. Now, I am one of the ones that goes with the vast majority. Like, if the majority of the people are saying that they were prejudiced and that was not the place to be, baby, I'm staying away. I don't want to chance it. But I am saying that it wasn't horrible. It could have been so much worse. It just wasn't as nice as Divina. But I know people who have had a not so great experience on the Divina. So you need to book the trip and see how your experience is. Be sure to hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you felt the vibes. Make sure you pull up to my other cruise content, or just check out my channel. And you can also, while you at it, check out my main channel, Simply Miss Kira, where I feature a lot of fashion hauls, girl talks, and real talks, and things like that. I hope I got through everything that I wanted to say. But I appreciate you sticking it out and watching this video. If you made it to the end, drop this emoji if you don't want to say nothing else. That's how I'm going to know it's real. That's engagement. And that helps this video get to the right people that it needs to get to. Until next time. Happy sailing.